Sounds good. Perfect, perfect. All right, great. So a wonderful again morning, afternoon, evening to everyone. I mean, whichever part of the globe you are connecting from. It's a pleasure to be with you all today. I'm curious to know. I know I can see some people type that they are from South Africa, but quickly type in the chat which country you're currently connecting from. I'm quite curious. I want to know where are you guys from? Yeah. Good evening from Abu Dhabi. Hello, hello. Yeah, UAE. Perfect. A lot of people from the UAE, from India, Abu Dhabi, UAE, of South Africa as well. Yeah, from Dubai. A lot of people coming from different backgrounds as well. Perfect. Hello, hello. Gotcha. Perfect. Great, great, great. So, we are thrilled to have such a diverse and engaged audience with us for today. Pleased to meet all of you. I'm sure some of you already know me or have spoken to me before, but for those who have not, I would say let me quickly introduce myself. My name is John. You can call me John Branjo. You can call me John, one of the admissions advisor for International Teachers University. I have transformed careers of over 3,000 teachers through specialized mentoring within Surasa. Again, you can call me John. I'm honored to also be joined by a distinguished group of guests, each bringing unique insights when it comes to the field of education. Now, this is a panel discussion, and our topic is focused on what skills teachers need to teach at the top schools globally. But first, I want to know as well, type in the chat quickly. I want to understand, why are you here? What are you hoping to achieve from this discussion? What are you looking what are you looking to know from this discussion? Yeah, we have our topic, but I want to know, what's your goal? What is your intent from this discussion? Yeah, type in the chat. Don't be shy. Oh, can you hear me? Oh, yeah, I'm good. And to learn how we can gain and shape the skills required. Perfect, perfect. We'll definitely have that. Skills to develop in the field of teaching and education internationally and reach great heights. I'm excited for you to reach that great height as well. Skills that you need to upgrade for teaching, skills for global teaching, extra skills to be gained. Basically, a lot of people are looking to gain the skills, guidance when it comes to getting back into the field of education. All right, definitely. We will tackle that as well. We have teachers or we have someone who was teaching before, looking to step back their toes in the education. Perfect. Got it. Got it. So, you know, in that case, let's imagine this, right? I'm sure people have, our teachers have this familiar situation wherein there's two teachers applying for the same job at the top international school. Imagine this. Both have impressive degrees, solid experience, but only one gets the job offer. Why is that? Globally, schools are evolving, and they are evolving fast. Curriculum frameworks are shifting, student needs are becoming more complex, and the classroom is no longer confined to four walls. In this landscape, schools are no longer just looking for qualified teachers. They're searching for something deeper, something more impactful, and often less obvious on a CV. So teachers often find asking themselves this question: what do schools really look for in teachers? What makes a teacher stand out, not just on paper, but in practice across borders, cultures, curriculum? So, in today's discussion, we're going beyond credentials to hopefully uncover the skills, mindsets, and qualities that truly sets educators apart in the eyes of schools. Because, to be very honest, the future of education isn't just about what you know, it's about how you teach, how you lead, and how you inspire. Would you agree with me on that? So, to help me uncover such mysteries, I'm happy to introduce our panelists for today. So, please join me in welcoming our first panelist. I'm excited to introduce our first panel, a distinguished leader in international education with over 25 years of experience across school leadership, curriculum development, and educator growth, especially in the globally diverse context. Currently serving as the director of the American International School in Egypt, He also has led schools in Egypt, in Lebanon under ESOL education. His extensive experience includes not only leading high-performing schools, but also identifying, hiring, and nurturing top teaching talents from around the world. With a keen understanding of what makes a teacher successful in an international setting, he brings valuable insights into the qualities and competencies that define excellence in global education. We're honored to have him with us for today. So please help me in welcoming Mr. Gerald. So, Mr. Gerald, you can show yourself. Let me pin you here. There you go. Got it. Can everybody see Mr. Gerald? Welcome, Mr. Gerald. Hello.
Good
Hello.
evening, good morning, good afternoon.
Perfect, perfect. Nice to have you with us for today, Mr. Gerald. So, just a quick question to you, Mr. Gerald. You have reviewed countless teaching applications. Is that correct? And
Yes,
beyond,
absolutely.
beyond degrees and certifications, right, what is one particular quality of a teacher that when you see, this has always impressed you?
Well, first of all, Jan, thank you all for letting me be here tonight. It's a wonderful opportunity to be engaging with all of you, and I hope we can really learn from each other tonight, and that our members tonight can gain some valuable insights into the ever-changing world of international education. So, thank you for the question. One of the things that I apologize in advance if you hear me say this a lot tonight. Okay. I've seen lots of CVs. I've sat in many interviews with candidates for every possible position you can think of in an international setting. One of the things that I will tell you is um, what most impresses me, what will always draw me to a candidate, is not necessarily the documented experience that's outlined in their CV. What really impresses me most is the ethos of the candidate that we're interviewing. If it's apparent to me that this is a candidate that has a passion for education, they understand the why of education, but they're also clearly focused on the who of education, and that is our students. And so for me, when the CV is what will get you in the interview, it'll get you through the door, but your ethos, your passion, your dedication, and your understanding of why we are educators is really going to be the thing that sets you apart above everyone else, as far as I'm concerned.
Great. And that's a big thing right at the start. Passion, the why and the who of education. And you could not say it much better. Thank you for that wonderful beginning say, Mr. Gerald. And to introduce our next panel, let me just so our next panel is going to be Dr. Andrew Lewis. Andrew Torres, sorry. And Mr. Andrew is a seasoned international school leader whose career spans over 35 years in 5 countries. He has led schools across Asia, Middle East, with a strong focus on student-centered learning, intercultural understanding, and educational innovation. His global perspective, combined with deep belief in empowering both students and educators, makes him a powerful voice in today's conversation when it comes to the future of education. Let us welcome Dr. Andrew. It's a pleasure to have you with us for today.
Thanks, Dan. I'm really happy to be here and to be interacting with this panel with Gerald and with Lolo and talking to you about this fantastic opportunity that people have in front of them in international education. It changed my life and changed the life of my family as well. And so I'm super excited to talk about this tonight.
I'm excited to have this conversation as well with you, Mr. Dr. Andrew, and with the rest. So, one question here for you, just a quick thing. You've worked across, as mentioned, different international schools, right? What I would say, in your experience, distinguishes a teacher who truly thrives when it comes to this environment?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think about this every day, and just to piggyback a little bit on Gerald's comments as well. I think number one, we're always looking for people who focus on the well-being of the children in front of them. whether they be 4 years old or 18 years old. We have to have that in our heart, and we're always digging in to try to find those people whose love of learning, but also the love of diverse children are important. But the one thing that I really zoom in on is students of culture, of understanding the context that is the international setting, and being able to figure out ways in which they can differentiate and address instructional needs of children from different parts of our planet, from different perspectives, from different cultures, getting to understand the needs of those students, those learners, and connecting with them, with their families, and with our diverse colleagues as well. That key of collaboration and communication across the cultural spectrum is always so important in our work. At the end of the day, I'm looking for someone who is a lifelong, culturally centered, student-focused learner. And I think that's a perspective that makes a lot of sense these days, especially as we consider our relevance as educators in the international world.
Great. And this is such a unique perspective from you, Dr. Andrew, because it makes sense, right? Going internationally means handling international students, handling a diverse, set of students, and also being able to handle diverse, from different background colleagues. And again, that's something that I've never thought of. Yes, you will be handling different colleagues as well from different backgrounds. So having being a teacher that is able to handle that is a one of the biggest advantages for internationally. Thank you for that insight, Dr. Andrew. And to complete our set of panel, I would like to introduce our last panel for this evening. Our last panelist, she is currently our esteemed academic director of International Teachers University, USA, whose extensive experience in education sector is matched only by her unwavering commitment when it comes to academic excellence. Her distinguished career positions her as an invaluable mentor and a guide for our teachers. Please help me welcoming Miss Lulu. How are you, Miss Lulu? How's everything? Pleasure to have you here with us for today.
Good evening, Dan. I'm super excited and happy to be with everyone tonight. I always say uh, it brings energy being with educators who has, as Dr. Andrew has described them. He said, I'm not looking for teachers. He's looking for lifelong learners. So and what most of the teachers that I interact with and work with, they are lifelong learners. They reach out to us because they want to grow and they want to develop. So, and that's why this makes such panels super exciting, because it means we are in the presence of so many educators who are still thirsty, who want to learn more and see what is going on out there, especially with the changing landscape of education. So thank you so much for the introduction. I want to welcome everybody to the session tonight, and to the teachers who are here. Thank you, and I want to applaud you for having this spirit of saying,
Exactly.
yes, I'm not done yet. There's a lot more to learn, a lot more to grow, and that's why I'm here tonight. So
Exactly.
yeah, looking forward to the evening.
Perfect. And you could put it much better. The way these teachers are getting some inspiration, some empowerment from us, we do get their energy. We get the energy from them as well. And you're definitely right. It tells so much about the audience here, when it comes to like just them being here. Tells so much about what kind of teacher they are. And I'd say quick question to you, Miss Lulu, as someone who has been interacting with a lot of student teachers, what would you say would be like the best thing about it?
The best thing of me interacting with teachers? Oh, I have one of the best jobs in the world. Being a teacher myself, I was someone who enjoyed so much my time in the classroom, but I also felt there is more to my job than this, and I felt like I need to work on my own development and grow. Now I'm in a place when I'm supporting hundreds of teachers, identifying, knowing that, helping them understand that there is much more in the journey. This profession has a lot to offer if we decide to, if we decide to invest in ourselves and decide that I can do more and I want to do more and take the steps towards that. That's I wouldn't trade my job for anything in the world.
Wonderful perspective on that, Ms. Duda. Thank you so much. So to get us officially going, I'm sure many teachers here, feels work hard, but somehow still feel stuck, right? Not getting the roles, recognition, or salary they deserve. Do our teachers feel this way? So, like at least some of them, do you feel this way? Yes, no, maybe. And it's often because they're missing just a few skills or approaches that truly set them apart. So let's dive deeper into what those missing pieces are and how they impact real opportunities. So I would like to throw our first question to you, Dr. Andrew. Right? I'm sure you have handled multiple teachers throughout your career as a school leader. Right? Could you share any situation which you felt like one particular teacher in your school would flourish given they worked on a particular skill or even a particular mindset?
It's a great question. I would never say I handled teachers. I would say maybe they handled me. But I'm always privileged to work and collaborate with amazing colleagues. To share a situation. I think you talked a little bit earlier and about feeling stuck, getting to that point in one's career, and the career path seemingly comes to a lack of a better term, a dead end, or maybe there's an impediment in the way that is there, or there's a door that just won't open no matter how many times they try. And I always kind of ask my teachers to reflect on sort of where they are, what they've done, and they do get very frustrated by that fact that the door's not opening for me, and I keep working hard. I'm doing the extra stuff. I'm contributing. I'm connecting. My reviews look great, but I just can't quite seem to go through. And I basically I always use the analogy of the ring of keys that we all seem to carry around with us in our lives. There's the keys for our cars, and our keys for our houses, and our keys for our apartments, and keys to lock boxes and safes and things like that. And sometimes we have keys and we don't know what these keys are for, but we continue to carry them around with us. And ultimately, the continual learning piece, the continual mind-opening opportunities, the stepping into the center of the ring and attempting to lead or attempting to engage in innovation adds keys to your key ring. And that allows you to find those doors that those keys open. And so, I'm always coaching people to say, that ultimately you're showing me that you're capable, interested, and you have the grit and stick-to-itness, the perception of possibility is in their hearts. And that's really what I'm always kind of looking for. And ultimately, even today, I was in a meeting with a young person who was, wanting to get involved in the next steps in the implementation of a innovation that we're trying at our school. And she's like, Andy, I want to do this. I really am interested. She's stepping up and saying so. And I ultimately said, you know what? Yeah, this is your chance, because you've shown me that you're interested, you've done your research, you've participated, and you're ready to lead. And that professional grit that she showed me over the last year and a half that I've known her, it's seemingly a long time for a young person, really made a lot of difference to me and my perceptions of her as she was moving forward. And I admired that and openly told her so. I think that we need to see teachers who continue to grow, as I stated earlier, that lifelong learning piece. They are a student of education, student of the game, if you will. And our game is teaching and learning. And
Right.
her perspectives continue to add to her keychain over and over again. And she just finished her degree. She's got her master's now. She's ready for her next step. And the door is opening for her. And I'm really super excited to see where she's going to go as we give her this opportunity.
I see. So would you say when we talk about like these keys that the teachers carry with them, would you say attending one of these kinds of panel discussion webinars, master classes would add more to their keys?
Always, always. And, and she's out there doing her reading. She's, listening to podcasts. She's doing her research. She's connecting. She's networking. She's a positive community member, contributing to outside of her classroom spaces and working with different kinds of students besides the students who are assigned to her. She sees the entire organization as a group of students for her to teach, and that's pretty remarkable.
Gotcha. There's this change of perspective. Thank you so much for that. And I want to get your thoughts on this as well, Miss Lulu. As someone who's been doing teacher training for years now, have you seen any kind of key skills or this keys that teachers often lack and that quietly kind of like held them back from better career advancement?
Yeah, definitely. The willingness to learn, the lifelong learning is a big key. Once you know that, yes, there is a lot more, and I have to develop myself. It's like once you know the problem, you've solved half of it. If you have this built in you, then you're already halfway there. I think Mr. Gerald also mentioned that at the beginning, that you have to be an educator. You have to love what you do. You have to be able to interact with your students and knowing they are at the center of everything. That's one important thing. So all the teachers that we have helped in building their skills, having this love for learning, that have them got them halfway. But then from there onwards, Andrew has just mentioned on the grit. You have to know that to grow, it might not come easy. You have to work on things for things to happen. To get those keys in your hand, you have to take action, and you have to have targets in front of you and know, in order to get this target, I need to do 1, 2, 3, and you go do those things, right? So you have to have a clear path in front of you. So, and through professional development, through teacher development, there are so many areas that teachers can work on and develop, and can work, they can collect keys through work, can open so many doors with the development of education, with the change of how the classrooms look like, with technology coming in. They have given us I think technology has opened a whole new world for teachers there, but then now they are a bit struggling with um, abandonness of tools and stuff that they can use. But now many of the teachers are confused because they want to use the tools, but they're not able to identify where to use what, when, and where. So they are struggling a bit. And there's what I've seen, like this professional development courses or activities. They help put things in perspective. They get the teacher grounded in pedagogy, because once you have a strong understanding of pedagogy, you have strong understanding of the classroom, only then you can build with whatever tools you have. You have little tools, you have as many tools as you wish for. If you have a strong pedagogy, then you're able to lead best classrooms, and you're able to grow.
Perfect. So using what, where, making sure like whatever resources are available with you, you use them to the best of your abilities. Throwing it to
Right.
you, Mr. Gerald, I actually want to get your international or global perspective on this when it comes to, are there any other skills that a particular teacher would like to have in order to flourish when it comes to their, when it comes to their career?
Well, there's, I'm gonna, no pun intended, but both Dr. Andrew and Lulu have talked about some key principles here. Okay.
Keep.
Okay. I think one of the things that I've seen that sometimes, and Lulu, you just mentioned this a little bit earlier. I think one of the things in coaching teachers and talking with teachers about the habit.
Oh, yeah,
I think
go ahead.
we have a visitor to our conversation today. Um,
Welcome.
for me, you guys might have seen my daughter come in just a little bit ago and do this. So she's about to, that's Penelope. She owns me. I think one of the sometimes essential skills or one of the key things that we need to be mentoring or leading our teachers toward is reflective practice. Okay, Lulu, you mentioned this, and I think it's really important. If you can identify the problem, you're half the way there. And I think for all of us who, I've known Andy for a while, and I know the work that he does. And even in my own career as a leader and a mentor, when I see someone who really understands how to be reflective, when I see someone who is intentional about coming in and unpacking what they've just gone through in this learning. It could have been feedback from me from a learning walk where I wrote a grow or a glow or whatever. And when I have a chance to loop back to them and sit down with them and go over that, when I see them coming in having already done that reflective work individually, when they're coming to me and they're able to say, you know what, Gerald, these are my own observations on what I did, during this lesson or during this interaction. And again, like you said, Lou, it's very important here. When they have that awareness, when they understand that they want to get better, they might not know how to get better, but they can at least identify a couple of things that they have realized they wanted to do better. Then this is where, as a leader, if you have the will, my job is to give you the skill, And so
Right.
really, I would encourage all of you, just in general, beyond our professional practice, but we know it's very powerful. But being very reflective of what we do, being reflective of our learning, and being reflecting of how we're putting our learning into practice. And I think these are really important components of what we need to see in our teachers and what really set great teachers apart.
I see. So as teachers, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people are busy, a lot of things are happening here and there. But taking time to reflect, understanding where you are, as you mentioned, is a key principle. So, thank you so much
If
for
I
that.
can add here,
Yeah,
sorry,
please, go
Dan,
ahead.
if I can
Yeah, go ahead,
add,
go ahead.
like even sometimes we have many teachers who come who maybe at that stage when they come to us, they don't really know where things are not right or what is not working. So even I just want to say that it's okay to say, I don't know what to do or where I am. So reflect in a way that knowing something is not, you don't have to figure it out from the first step. At least at the first step, you have to acknowledge that I can do better. And from there, when you seek support, a leader can help you put a mirror and identify these are the areas that would need more development.
Jan, can I add one thing on?
Yeah, please, go ahead, go ahead.
I think one fundamental, foundational, pick the word that you want to use here, though, I would kick myself if I didn't say this. I think as a leader, especially as a person who's responsible for the growth and development of teachers, one of the key elements of that is trust. Teachers, I know that the teachers that I've worked with, either they were new in their career or they were going through this season of enlightenment or this brand new understanding of what good practice looks like. There's always a vulnerability that's a part of this equation. And I think as long as we are the ones who have been put in these key positions of improving, investing in a teacher's craft, really understanding that we give them the freedom to fail. We give them the freedom to come in not having all the answers. If they can view us as a tool, if they can view us as a part of their toolkit, if they can view us as a resource, not just a talking head or someone who's filling out an evaluation, then that's one of the things that's really, really important, and really finishing off that reflective environment that you're creating, where they can come in, they can acknowledge where they need to grow, but they understand that you are there, you are for them, and you are a resource for them, and you are partnering with them and committing with them, and you are committed to engaging in the process of them getting better.
Yeah. Trust is a big thing, definitely. And opening up is not an easy thing to do, but it's the first step to figuring out, where you are, where you stand. Anything to add on this, Dr. Andrew?
To summarize, what I'm hearing is this whole idea that to get better, to take the next step in one's career, there's a level of vulnerability and openness, trust in the process, working with people whom you know are there for you, will work for you, putting yourself in a place where there's mentorship and sort of clarity around next steps. I know that there's so much out there in the international and educational world. We're bombarded with technology tools. We've got this thing called AI that's going to be a reality for us all, coming to bear very soon. We are held accountable for our own pieces of delivery. We're expected to understand and measure our own impact with our students in our classrooms day in and day out. And ultimately, we have our career goals. We want to move to the next step, to make more impact in a better place, and to affect the education of more children. And all those things come together in a space that requires someone who is committed to their profession and seeks to be a higher quality contributor to the organizations from which they belong.
Right. Perfect. Thank you so much for summing up the key points when it comes to this discussion. And I actually would like to have a conversation with our audience as well. We've heard a lot of things when it comes to technology, to this lifelong learner mindset, growing your mindset, change of perspective, talking about technology in teaching. So I actually would like to understand from our audience. You've heard a lot of things when it comes to what you need to work on or what you can work on. But I also would like to see, where do you stand, or where do you feel you stand when it comes to all of this. So there's going to be a poll coming up on your screen, right? And this is basically a question we're in understanding, or I want to see which area do you feel you are less prepared for right now when it comes to the education field. Is it integrating AI and technology when it comes to your classroom? Is it demonstrating a measurable impact, applying to better paying roles, right? Keeping up with new teaching methods or trends. So which area do you feel like least prepared right now? There's questions, there are answers there on your screen. Feel free to vote. You can directly choose an option there. You can see votes coming in as well. So, AI is leading. Confidently using AI and new classroom technologies is the leading one. I see a lot of people are also answering, keeping up with new teaching methods and trends. Definitely, education is ever changing. It's hard to keep up with new teaching methods and trends. So I'll give it a few more minutes. I would say I would say 1 more minute for people to answer. Again, if you do not see it, the poll, you can click the panel, I would say the option, and check the poll option there. It should be under the options. Right, got it. I would say 30 seconds more. From what I can see, I would say like more than half of our audience feels that confidently using AI and new classroom technologies, specifically technology, is the biggest thing that they feel like they don't feel like prepared right now. The next thing is keeping up with new teaching methods and trends. Again, as mentioned, there's um, multiple things that are happening in the education field that's quite hard or difficult to keep up to. And yeah, that's mostly what people are picking. Any thoughts on this from our panel, Lulu, Andrew, Mr. Gerald? Yeah, anyone who have any thoughts? I mean, we can start with you. I would say
I,
someone. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I would add, I mean, I completely understand the perspective, and I think that we are hearing, particularly here in the Middle East and the UAE, a lot about AI and technologies being at the forefront. The government's talking a lot about it. There's implementations in some of the local schools and required implementations in local schools. Even in my context with the local education authority, they're pushing us to make sure we have a solid and coherent digital strategy in our schools, and that trickles down to the classroom setting. And people are realizing, and I mentioned earlier this idea that where is it that we find our relevance as educators moving into this new era that we are facing? 20 some years ago, there was the advent of Google. And then all of a sudden, over the last 20 years, we've sort of become very comfortable. Google has become a common word. We Google things. Nobody said that 20 years ago. That was a new thing. And I said to my faculty a few weeks ago that the speed at which changes at our feet is like taking the last 10 years and compressing it into 6 months.
Hmm. Hmm.
And for some people that's scary, for some people that's exciting. And I'm looking for teachers in my school who see that as an exciting opportunity, not a scary opportunity. What choice do we have, I might add. But we must be proactive and ready to embrace whatever it is, remembering always we are teachers. And so we must focus on the needs of the children in the classroom and realizing, although we feel like we know little, they know less. And so we must take that on board and learn and grow at this point, perhaps with our students together.
Yeah.
And what a wonderful experience. What a wonderful opportunity that provides us as educators as we move forward in the next 6 months, 1 year, 1.5 years, 2 years, because that's the speed and the growth that we are experiencing right now. So light on our feet, be proactive, and be excited about this opportunity that we live in right now.
Gotcha. With new things actually comes an opportunity that a teacher can take advantage of. That's a change of perspective. Any things to add here, Mr. Gerald?
No, I think Andy's very, very clear on this one. That he and I have had these discussions before. And I think that's exactly where we need to be focusing and looking and moving the direction we need to be moving people.
Gotcha. How about from your side, Miss Lulu, anything else to add on this part?
I think, Andrew summed it so nicely. And we all agree that AI is here to stay and to not even to stay, to keep running in front of us, and feels like we're just running with it or behind it. So yeah, so like I tell the team the same thing, like we have to keep running always to stay on our foot. And at many times, Andrew was mentioning some many times now these days, the kids are so much more tech savvy than us in many areas. They know more than us, so they can even guide us on doing a few things, using some tools and saying, maybe a kid comes and suggests, let's use this tool for our homework because I've used it for something and it came up for something wonderful. So it's about keeping, again, going back to the open mindset and knowing that we are lifelong learners and we're always learning.
Perfect. Great. So, since most of you picked AI and technology, that actually tells me that our audience have reflected and kind of like see where key gaps lie. Which brings us to an important question as we move forward. Why do some teachers get stuck in good enough while others break through to become truly great? These teachers who land the best roles, get the highest recognition, and truly change outcomes. So I'd love to ask our panelists now, what's one clear difference between a good teacher and a great teacher? I would like to start with Mr. Gerald.
I'm not as Dr. Andy's more brilliant than I am. Okay, sometimes my responses might seem a little simple, but I've been in education for 50 years. My mother was a teacher. I've seen lots of different iterations of the new thinkings and this great new thing that's come out. But I think there's some very, very foundational things we should be focusing on. For me, um, it's what the difference between, for me, the difference between a good teacher and a great teacher is what they are doing with the resources that they have been given. Okay, I can take two math teachers and that teach the exact same grade level, that collaboratively plan their lessons. They have the exact same everything, resources and training and classroom setups in front of them. But one of them is easily identified as a great teacher and one is just a good teacher. And so for me, um, it goes beyond just understanding material. It goes beyond just passing through curriculum. For me, it's the ability of teachers to ignite curiosity in students, to build a sense of, we've used this word before, but it's very powerful, grit, efficacy. The teacher who sees these golden moments every day with a child and with a class, to where they see that as the opportunity to ignite some lifelong lesson in them, leave some lifelong lasting impact beyond just the expressed curriculum or whatever the lesson plan is that day. That's what really, for me, are my identifying traits of a great teacher. They really see that opportunity to leverage the time and the resources and the relationships with our students and really make that lifelong impact on them.
I see. So, for you, being a great teacher is a teacher who is able to use what kind of resources are available to give that such impact when it comes to the student. How about from your side, Miss Lulu? What makes a great, what makes a teacher a great teacher?
Okay. From what Mr. Gerald has said, I'll say it from a teacher training perspective. I would say it all comes down to strong pedagogy. The teacher who really understands the concepts of things, who understands child psychology and knows this, has the same lesson plan. Two teachers can have the same lesson plans, the same resources, but this teacher understands at which stage is this kid. Maybe something is happening at home. They understand the child psychology, they understand child development, they understand using of classroom resources, classroom management, lesson planning. They understand all the background. They are even comfortable. They come happily to the class and they are confident because they know the background, they know everything, and they know if I use this would happen. If I use this would happen, because it is backed with science.
Mm,
And that's a discussion that I have with the teachers that we work with, is that once many teachers come to us and who have so many years of experience, and they know some things work and some things don't work, but they don't know why those things work and those don't, right? But once you back that with knowledge and you understand why this works, then you can feed it up with extra things that whatever works normal can be now become something outstanding because I understand the basics of it. Uh, that would be my answer from teacher development perspective.
I see. So pedagogy is an understanding behind like why have that kind of clear understanding and the science behind like why does this specific thing doesn't work, and not just realize it doesn't work, but why does
Just
it
like
work?
I'm trying in the class, does this, or and,
Right.
it becomes like trial
Perfect.
and error.
Perfect. Perfect. How about on your side, that Dr. Andrew? I want to
Well,
understand. Yeah.
I'm going to combine both of these who smart people's idea and you know I was thinking or reflecting back on a colleague I had many years ago. I taught with this lady was a master teacher, somebody who I was privileged to work with and watch her teach daily. I worked in these great schools with open spaces, and so literally I could watch master teachers teach every day of my life, and it made me a better educator over time. So just a hint, folks, don't quite hide in your classrooms. Go hang out in your colleagues' classrooms while they're teaching. I mean, take your graded papers and sit at their desk while they're teaching. Watch them teach and mark your papers, and just watch them and learn how they do their job. Even you can learn from anybody through the process. Just on a side note.
Yeah.
But Miss Brenda was my colleague, and we were fearless innovators in that team. We just tried different things, and so one day in the faculty room, we were joking with Brenda that she could teach anything from any piece of resource. And so to Gerald's point, like you have to use what you have in front of you.
Yeah.
No matter where you are, there's something you can use to teach students skills and concepts. Be creative. At the end of the day, you have to be courageous enough to just take it and go. And so we did a team challenge. As a team, we all got to go to the grocery store and choose one canned good. One. Some people chose a can of corn. Some people chose a can of beans. Some people chose a can of tomatoes. But with that can of canned goods, we had to create a 1 week unit, multidisciplinary unit based on that can of vegetables. And
Yes.
then brought that to the team and said, here's my unit, and I taught it, and this was the impact it had on our children. So think about it, folks, for just a second. What can you teach elementary age? I was teaching grade 4 at the time. What can you teach a grade 4 student that sits at a can of beans? Well, no technology, no Google, by the way, back then. But you can teach them mathematics. You can teach them design. You can teach them geometry. There's reading and context. There's creative writing that can be got from a can of corn or a can of beans. You can do science research. Where did the vegetables come from? And pretty soon, physics, chemistry.
Yeah.
And pretty soon, you have this gigantic unit of study and creativity and connections from a single, like back then, 22 American cents can of vegetables. And, what it taught me was that, you don't need the fancy textbooks. You don't, we didn't have
Yeah.
technology back then, but nowadays I dare teachers in my school, try it out. See if you can do this. Have a group challenge your students to do it. For the most simple things, you can be the most creative units and build beyond it. And I think it's that courage to think beyond what would normally be done and inspire your children, your students to think in the most simplistic terms about the complexity behind our own lives. And that experience exploded across my school, actually. And we built entire activities and units, which then led to a canned food drive, charity, zakat, whatever you want to call it within that context. Our families then began donating. We teamed with local charities to provide food to the food banks, and all that started with a single conversation with 4 teachers sitting at a lunchroom table about, you know what, Brenda, you could teach anything from a can of beans. And she's like, well, y'all could. Let's just think about that. And it was one of the most enlightening professional experiences I've ever had.
Thank you for sharing that,
Yeah.
Dr. Andrew. Got it. So that was anything to add from Mr. Gerald, from Miss Dulu before we move forward from our conversation. That was
Beautiful story from Andrew that
Yeah.
goes to the basic, that if you have the basics, if you understand the basics, you can do anything with whatever you have.
Indeed.
And yeah.
Yes,
And just one
absolutely.
quick thing is that I'm sorry, Gerald. Just a quick note that when COVID hit and all the teachers had to teach through the screens, again, they were left with no resources or zero resources and teaching to the screen. This is where real teachers were identified. There were those teachers who still through the screen could design outstanding classes, and the students waited for the class and attended those, while in so many other classes I know my kids like sitting the whole day with their heads down and their feet up throughout COVID classes. So yeah, beautiful story, Andrew. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you. You're welcome.
You were saying something, Mr. Gerald.
No, I was just agreeing. I was agreeing with them both. They said it well. I don't need to rehash it.
Perfect. So from what I understood, basically from being a great teacher, at least for Mr. Andrew, is all about taking all of the resources they have to make sure that the impact they make is greater. When it comes to the students, also from Miss Lulu, having the science to understand why one thing doesn't work when it comes to your classroom or whatever it is you're doing when it comes to your school. And when it comes to, Dr. Andrew, having that first thing is being open when it comes to learn and finding opportunities to learn from others from anywhere, be it from a can of beans, and having the courage and flexibility to even take that challenge as well. Perfect.
Yeah. And I think that I will add one more thing here, Jen. When you're working with a talented group of people, you don't realize it, but we were drawing on a theory base and an understanding of student learning that we all held collectively to that, which is, I mean, it's one of the reasons why you want to seek out great talent that is around you and collaborate with those people, but also understanding that you bring a base set of knowledge from your training and experience, your advanced degrees and so on, and that idea that we take those theories and those important things that we learn in our degree work and deliver it, but we have to be courageous enough to apply those in that space. And I think that's a really important piece here.
Perfect. I love those insights. And I hope all of our audience are thinking, what qualities do I have from our panels that they've discussed? And what are the things that where do I still have some room to grow? But here's the thing, right? Even the meaning actually of a great teacher is shifting. because the entire role of teaching is evolving and is evolving fast. Schools today are expecting more, students are expecting more, parents are expecting more, and the skills that mattered like 5 or 10 years ago, as our panelists have mentioned, aren't always enough anymore. So, would our audience agree with us on that? I can see someone who typed here, like a great teacher would be someone who does more than what the syllabus requires. And I think we can all agree on that as well. So in that case, right, there's this one thing that I also would like to get Mr. Gerald's perspective. So as someone who I would say as we move forward, as someone who reviews multiple profiles of teachers across different countries, how has the teaching role evolved right now? And what do you think would be like the best teachers of tomorrow doing differently from most potential teachers today?
I think that's the $64,000 question right there. I mean, it really is. I'm not being funny. I mean, in the last decade, we've seen teaching, the role of the teacher evolve dramatically. We've had rapid advances in technology, globalization. We have this growing understanding of how students learn best. We're learning every day more about how the brain works. I mean, and 10 years ago, I mean, Andy, you're the resident expert here, but 10 years ago, I don't think I heard teachers talking so much about tying in the brain with their pedagogical approaches. It wasn't common. It wasn't a part of the lingo, for lack of a better term. You look at where teachers are today and the expectations of what if you're in an international, or if you're in a private school or an international private for-profit school or private school or whatever, there's this expectation of what teachers now should be. We're talking, facilitators, mentors, designing these learning experiences for students, these holistic learning experiences for students that go well beyond even what some people would call an innovative classroom from 10 years ago. I think, if we want to make our teachers future ready, because I thought a lot about this question, Jan. Okay, I really did. I thought a lot about this question. If we think about, future proofing our teachers, for lack of a better term, or preparing them for, we're educating students for jobs and domains and sectors and things that don't even exist yet. We're educating our students to solve problems that we don't know are going to even exist yet. And so we're putting a lot on the shoulders of our teachers moving forward. And so I think a couple of ways, after looking into this a little bit, there's going to need to be more tech-driven instruction. Technology is here to stay. AI just is. Okay, either get on the wave or be crushed by it. Okay, it's how do you create these engaging, interactive, relevant learning experiences for kids? Because for me, technology can't just be seen, in my opinion, you can't just see technology as an add-on anymore. Technology is a component. Now, I will say, on principle alone, the greatest resource in the building is the teacher. Okay, it's not the smart boards, it's not those other things. Lulu, you've said it again. It's that teacher that has a clear understanding of best practices and that robust toolkit where you can give them a can of beans. Okay, what if the power goes out? What if you're in Lebanon, where I was for several years, and there's blackouts and you don't have access to these things anymore? What is that teacher going to do? So yes, tech driven is important, and folding that into what we do. AI gives us the power to really personalize these experiences for our students. So and investing time and energy and understanding how powerful AI can be as a resource. Like I mentioned earlier, this global interdisciplinary mindset, I would say, where students, whether our students whether they can say this or not, they are globally interconnected. Okay, you have the access to the entire planet right here in your hands. We've seen the impact of smartphones and an internet connection or a data plan. In the last 15 years, spark revolutions, spark great movements. We've seen our students, I've seen students challenge teachers because they have access to these resources where they're going to go home and they're learning more at home on their own than they might be in the classroom because the teacher's not
Exactly.
connected. And Lulu, yeah, I know you see this.
Mhm.
So cross-cultural skills. And then finally, I would say and if I'm taking too long on this, Jan, please, give me the timeout signal here. But
No worries. There's a few
I
things.
think, yeah, the last thing I'll say is this: as AI becomes, I'm not going to say AI is now in the driver's seat. I wouldn't say that. AI, I always tell people, when you're working with AI, you are the conductor, and the AI is the symphony that you're conducting. Those interactions
Right.
with AI.
Right.
But as AI starts to take over more of the routine tasks that teachers are, Lulu, I would love to hear your perspective on this one as well. But if you think about it, there are programs out there like Curriculum Genie where you can plug in your standards, you can plug in what you want your units to do. You can build out 5 units in the space of 9 minutes with all of your resources, your PowerPoint presentations, your diagnostic assessments. You can do analysis of how the kids are doing on your skills analysis, how they're doing on the exams, all those other things that used to take a lot of time and energy for teachers to create. Well, now it gives you this wonderful opportunity. Lulu, please correct me if I'm wrong, okay? But
Sure.
I believe the power of these tools now, it gives teachers that real opportunity to focus more on building relationships with their students, to
Right.
guiding
100%.
students with, social emotional development, nurturing those skills like, resilience, empathy,
Right.
critical decision making. I think it's something that you're either going to embrace now or you're going to become extinct. And
Right.
I hope I didn't take too much time with that.
Yeah, no worries.
No, totally fine. What you said really touches on the point. I want to say something that throughout our teacher development through our different programs, we teach teachers how to use some AI tools, like we use certain platforms and all for that. For example, the lesson planner. Like I know I used to take like a whole day to plan well-structured lesson where I know I've catered to all my learners and all. Now the tool can give me so many ideas in a few minutes. But then what we teach them also is that now the tool can give you an outstanding lesson, but that might not work at all with your class, with your students. So we can use the tools to do those repetitive things that we can do that can help us save time, but we always need our own input, our own thoughts on the lessons. And as you said, like building those relations, rather than okay, let me put it this way. If I have the right pedagogical skills, I can easily, quickly get the lesson plan that I know would work for my class. I can use an AI tool. The AI tool might give me 10 lesson plans, but then because I'm strong on my pedagogy, I know how things work. I can easily pick the one that works for my class. I've saved my time on lesson planning. I've saved my time in my class. Now I'm spending more time on building those social skills, as you've said, building the relationship with the kids, that in this time, because technology has become so dominant, our students are struggling with that and they need extra support on those
Absolutely.
areas. Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's that strong pedagogical knowledge base that is really key. If you don't understand the sort of how learners learn, how to differentiate need, be clear with children's
You'll be
struggles.
more confused because suddenly the tool has given you
Exactly.
more options, and now like, which one do I choose, right?
Exactly. It's a
Yeah,
too many
yeah,
forks in the road. Too many.
Right.
And
exactly.
each fork looks equally attractive, but at the end of the day, only maybe one or two will work. And if you don't have that pedagogical base, you're going to struggle. Yeah.
Yeah, it can become overwhelming for teachers who don't have what we're talking about now, that pedagogical understanding. I mean, I don't want to belabor the point, but before I moved into school leadership, I was in the I was a music educator, doing a lot with music technology and recording studios. And I worked in a public school in Dallas, Texas, where we had someone invest a lot in my program. But one of the things that my students rapidly learned is, they could walk into a classroom, into my room, that had all of the technology. They had all of these, industry standard instruments and microphones and keyboards and drum sets and all these other things. But what they quickly learned was, I need to have an understanding of how to use the resource. I have to have that understanding of how to use the resource and to be able to critically evaluate, what is being put in front of me. So like Andrew's saying, we don't go off on this, rabbit chase down this road because we weren't able to discern what these resources actually meant and how they were going to impact what we're trying to do with our students.
Perfect. So that was such a you mean to sum everything up. Definitely, technology is here to stay, as mentioned by by Mr. Gerald. But having the pedagogical knowledge, from what I'm getting, is having the pedagogical knowledge to understand that whatever the AI is giving me, to understand that this is the most effective one for me, for my situation, for my classroom, for my school. So that's kind of like what I'm hearing from our panelists for today. Now, anything else to add on to that besides technology from your side, Dr. Andrew, when it comes to future teachers, what can they be doing differently?
I think we've had a really good discussion, a wide-ranging conversation there.
Yeah.
I know the key here is be courageous, show some grit, be reflective, understand that it's never going to be perfect. Even the
Perfect.
best always want to get better. And you get a little bit better every day, and it really makes a difference.
100%. And from your side, Ms. Lulu, as an academic director of like the International Teachers University, training teachers, anything else to add here when it comes to what the best teachers are doing differently?
Oh, I would say, maybe coming back to the same point, I would say they're always learning. Maybe they're
Mm,
trying to do things, but they are open to trying new things, open to learning, reflective, as we've mentioned. And I would always encourage the teachers to just keep exploring things. There are invest I like encourage them a lot to invest in their own growth, because as educators, we're like, just like mothers, we feel like the kids are our kids. We call them I've always called my students as my kids. I think it's a very common thing among teachers. So we have this feeling, and we spend a lot of time nurturing our classrooms, nurturing, building those relationships with the kids, and we forget about our own development. So it's very important for every teacher to take a step back and think, in order to be a better teacher for my students, I have to invest in myself, and I also have to take care of myself.
Understandable. And thank you so much for such great insight. It's such a privilege to hear such insight from, different leaders in the field of education. And you can really see that being an effective teacher today is just much more about than delivering lessons. It's about having the pedagogical knowledge, as mentioned, to take advantage of technology wisely, building reflective habits, continuing to evolve through ongoing learning. So to jump us off and move forward into the last part of our conversation, growth isn't just something about becoming better in the classroom. It's also about moving your career forward, whether that means a new role, higher pay, or more of like the leadership. So, Dr. Andrew, what specific advice would you give to teachers who are listening here today who wants to take the next step when it comes to strengthening their profile for their professional growth? Do you have any specific advice for our teachers?
Absolutely. As I said earlier, go and engage with your colleagues, watch them teach. Learn from everyone. You learn always when you're in other people's classrooms, and surround yourself and go to a place where people are interested and engaged in improving themselves. That's just one of the beautiful pieces about working with an extended degree. You get to hang out with not only the instructors who may or may not be delivering something that you might not already know, but at the end of the day, it's that piece where you can collaborate. And the beautiful piece nowadays is you don't necessarily even need to leave your living room to do that work.
Yeah.
You can do it in your own home. You can hang out and learn from other people from all over the planet, gain international perspective, cultural perspectives. This is the way we're doing things. But that's the first piece is hang out with folks. The second piece is, I flippantly say, you got to give it away for free in order to get the opportunity to be a leader.
Mm.
So, unfortunately, there's a mindset among some people in this world that they won't work and do the extra if they're not going to be paid for it. But that doesn't work in the education field. You got to step up and you got to volunteer. You got to be part of the system. You got to embed yourself in school improvement, committee work, extracurricular activities. Step up and be lead, like this young lady I was talking about earlier, who finally is going to get an opportunity to lead something at my school. She's not getting paid for that,
Mm.
except that she's getting paid for it in experience, in knowledge, in respect of her peers, respect of her employer and her bosses, her supervisors, and ultimately gaining some perspective that will provide more keys, or I might even say a bulldozer to knock down that door that's in front of her. So give it away, folks. Step up and contribute to your organization, because that's going to make a difference in your career. Hang out, engage, give it away.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that. You can definitely say that, for someone who's feeling that there's a wall with them, Dr. Andrew gave you a bulldozer of a tool to
Why not?
So, how about on your side, Mr. Gerald? Do you have any advice you would give to a teacher who's aiming for a position like in their top dream international school globally?
Yeah, I definitely agree with what Andrew says about, giving it away for free, that path, that motivation. I think, networking with like-minded people. I think, you guys have all heard the expression, A's hire A's and B's hire B's. You've heard that expression before. Networking with like this teacher that Andrew's talking about, who I'd love to meet one day. And I've been fortunate to have lots of teachers like this throughout my career. The ones who just show up to give, they show up to invest, they show up to help make the organization better. They see a need, then they see an opportunity to empower someone or invest in our students or whatever. And they just do it. It's not necessarily driven by self or some selfish motivation. Again, it goes back to ethos. I talked to you guys about, I mentioned that at the beginning, but I think it's very important. Like hires like will always find like. And so to network with people who have that same value system that you have, that same approach, building those professional connections within the greater community. I think that's very, very important. Being intentional about who you spend time with at conferences, really leveraging those, it's those after the presentation's over conversations that teachers have, when you'll see somebody sparked by something that the presenter was talking about. It's that component, because I can still to this day, name the most influential people in my own personal growth and development that have had an impact on my career as a leader. A lot of them were people that I just spent time with, who were like-minded, and we sparked each other. we identified that. So yeah, what Andy said, definitely, but I would also say networking with like-minded people and seeking these opportunities to connect internationally, because it's a real small club in the international world. Everybody knows everyone.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Networking and building professional connections is also an important step, definitely. Thank you for that, Mr. Gerald. And on your side, Miss Lulu, any advice, especially like as a leader involved in a teacher education, any advice for our teachers seeking professional
I'll
growth?
not really add much, but I'd like to build on what both have said, that this is also an exciting time for educators, that there is a lot online in the sense of learning resources. There is a lot of learning resources that I can figure out as a teacher, that I can find free resources or paid resources, but there is a lot. And even on connection side, right now, like, we're connecting with people from across the world, with educators from across the world online. So if you don't have the chance to build that physical connection with people, go explore online, go to platforms like LinkedIn, where professionals would be sharing things, and just talk, spread the word, explore things, and even seek advice from those people. Identify what areas you want to develop more on, and try to work on that in order to become better.
Perfect. Thank you for that, Miss Lulu. Now, I would like to actually take, you know, I would like to take time to answer a few questions from our audience. You can type on the chat for those who are with us, for our audience. Type in the chat if you would like to ask anything from Miss Lulu, from Mr. Gerald, from Dr. Andrew, if you would like to, if you have any questions for them. But I would say, like, I saw a question earlier, and again, anyone can answer, be it Miss Lulu, Mr. Gerald, or Dr. Andrew. Someone who has, who was a teacher before and looking to get back into the teaching field, what particular thing you would like to, or I would say they're asking, how can they make it easier for themselves to get back to the education field? We can start, maybe, Mr. Gerald, any thoughts on this part?
So I'm sorry, my internet, it broke up
Sure,
just.
sure.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Sure. Someone was actually asking earlier that they shared that they were a teacher before, and then they left the education field for maybe a few years, and they're looking to get back into the education field. Maybe they're aiming for their dream school. Do you have any particular thing that you could give them that they can focus on to make it a lot easier for them to secure that dream goal or dream opportunity?
Yeah, I would say, because of how rapidly education has changed. I mean, if you've been out of education for even 5 years, there's a lot of catching up that you're going to have to do to really understand, because the whole landscape has changed. So I would say, do your homework. Do your homework. Reach out to, if you have connections with other people who are currently in education, that will be willing to spend time with you. Buy them dinner. Okay, that's what I would say. Create those experiences. I would also say, like Lulu and Andrew have talked about as well tonight, look at these resources that are out there. It's not just conferences, it's LinkedIn. There's lots of, What Schools Could Be is a great resource, forward thinkers who are looking at the work that's being done. And so I would say, just dive in with both feet to build up your skill set as much as possible, and then get a Search Associates membership and start going to those conferences.
Perfect. Anything from Miss Lulu or Dr. Andrew on this? If not, then that's fine. We can move forward. There's a question here. I would say Shabira enjoyed the panel so much that they are asking, where can they follow Miss Lulu, Mr. Gerald, or Dr. Andrew? I would say LinkedIn. I think the best place as well to follow this, great leaders, to get insights from them. But if do you guys have anything, I would say either any website that you can kind of like put forward to, please feel free. Be it from Miss Lulu, Mr. Gerald.
I'm relatively active on LinkedIn, and I contribute to things with IPU, of course, and I am out of the habit, but have set a personal goal for myself for this next academic year to begin engaging in more conferencing presentations. I used to do that a lot and then stepped away for a little while thanks to the pandemic. And I missed it, and so I'm gonna start doing that work again. I enjoy doing that work, but the thing is, uh, I I don't know. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think uh, to be a better educator these days requires a little bit more depth than what you're going to get in an online environment that from a social media space.
Hmm.
I think that there's good learning to be had there, and it's going to spur you on to certainly do more research. But to answer the prior question, Jan, about getting back into school, I have a lot of people who come and engage me in my current role in this exact same question, and I never know quite what to say other than kind of going back to my idea that, like, have you thought about volunteering? Have you thought about stepping up and going into classrooms again to try to get a little experience? Talk to some teachers and saying, could I hang out in your classroom? Could I get some permission to come to your school and be in your school and watch you work to see what your job looks like now? It's changed, as Gerald has said, over the last 5 years, 10 years. It's been depending on how long they've been out of it. And engage in some continuing education, renew some certifications, get some extended education is, I think, a really, really good big key to this process. But more than anything, there's no quick fixes here. You got to invest in yourself over time. Go sit at the feet of the masters, if you will, and that means read some books, engage in some research, go watch people work and do their job. Find the best people you can and really, really, really connect them. And then access the resources online to follow up and spur your creativity and your thinking on as you move forward. But I do believe that continuing education is key here.
Yes.
Perfect. Perfect. How about on your side, Mr. Gerald? LinkedIn would be, is
Yeah,
there
well,
any?
yeah, LinkedIn. I'm not a big social media guy, but I'm recognizing that I need to adapt or I will be extinct. So yeah, I have my LinkedIn profile. That could be definitely a place to talk.
Perfect. And I think Lulu also answered that question. Maybe you can mention that to our audience.
Yeah, I'm just saying you can connect with us on LinkedIn. You can also follow International Teachers University LinkedIn page. You'll find so many like-minded educators there. And you'll see there that our learners, our MEd learners, they're also doing a lot of interesting research. They're doing action research and they are sharing some of their thoughts on that page. So you can stay up to date on what's happening on education in different parts of the world, and you can get snippets and access to fresh thoughts from action research from different educators.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you for sharing that, Mr. Luke. Hello, ITU on different social media platforms. There's one question here that I would like to end on. That some Miss Brenda put forward, and I think I'll put this question to you, Miss Lulu, because this is more leaning towards teacher education. How can a teacher manage an autistic child, or I would say special education needs, children on a classroom? Your thoughts on
Oh,
this?
that's a very specific question. I think that would need a lot of just like you cannot say in general that this is how I manage an autistic child. You have to understand the case. You have to understand a lot of background. You have to understand to manage the relationship with the parents, the relationship with the school. So there is a lot that can be involved there that I don't think I'm qualified right now to answer that question like in a 1 minute here. But I would advise Brenda to to do some research, check some, if you're interested in that, do some studies on special needs and identify, again, there are so many specific procedures that happen that are specific to a certain area, regulations. So I would say do some research first and invest in yourself. If this is something you want to be able to do, put it as your target list, put it on your goal for the year, and
Yeah.
go towards it. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Mm.
One anything to add on your side, Dr. Andrew, or is agreeing?
Yeah, that's a complex question, and by the way, the definition of an autistic child has a million different definitions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a spectrum that is as wide as the world, and no human being is the same, whether they're, you know, autistic or they're gifted and talented or both at the same time. And so we need to understand the complexity of the human mind. And I think that these children teach us those lessons every day.
Perfect. And definitely, I think that's the best place to start, understanding or having that understanding that they are different. You know, every student is different. You know,
Well,
so
so are
that's
you, Jan. So is Gerald. So is Lulu. So am I. We're all different.
exactly. Great. One other question. I think this is a quick thing. They're asking in the area of technology, how useful are this hands-on activities, sticky notes, workstations, language art activities, um, on your side, Mr. Gerald?
I'm sorry, can you say that one more time? It's glitchy.
They're asking, basically in the era of technology, how everything is, you can do it on smart boards and things like that. So how useful are hands-on activities like sticky notes, workstations, language art activities?
I would say that they are just as useful and just as powerful as they've ever been. Okay. I think we're approaching very dangerous waters when we are looking to technology as the magic bullet for everything, because it's not. Sometimes it causes
Yeah.
more problems than it solves. What I would say is, I'm going to go back to Lulu. You said this again. Andrew mentioned this earlier, but Andrew was talking about they learned from a can of beans. Okay.
Mhm.
It was about understanding the teacher having a solid pedagogical skill set and seeing the resources that are in front of them and learning how to leverage the appropriate leverage the appropriate resources in the right moments to where we're making the most impact. And so, yeah, sticky notes are still a powerful tool. So's a pen. So's writing an essay. I mean, all of those things, they've never lost their value. You just have to make sure you know how to when and how to employ them the most effectively.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that. Honestly, any last thoughts from, for our audience? How about on your side, Mr. Andrew? Any last few thoughts for our overall discussion? Anything that you would like to mention to our
Yeah, I
audience?
really, really love that last question, actually, because I think it resonates with my old educator heart in so many ways, because I will challenge everybody on this call to the can of beans challenge.
Yep.
Get with your colleagues and see what you can do with just a can of beans and a few markers, some sticky notes, a trifold piece of cardboard,
Yes.
some construction paper, some markers, some crayons, and a pencil and a pen, and some paper. The whole idea of, do some research and look into Ron Berger and the ethic of excellence from back in the 80s and 90s. Harvard professor educator who talked about helping students to understand the process of learning and getting better little by little, and that the first piece of writing, the first piece of artwork is not the best piece, and to redo it and revise and rework over time and develop those mental skills and grit and intelligence over time is a powerful piece. And maybe that should be my next book, the Can of Beans Challenge. I probably should work on that.
I've already
Uh,
outlined.
I actually think I have an idea here. You guys are.
I've already started on the first 2 chapters. Okay. All right. Nicely done.
Yeah. So that's on. How about you, Miss Lulu? Any last few points? Then we can move forward. Yeah,
I
that
really enjoyed the discussion. I don't want to take
same.
more time. I know we've taken a lot of time, but
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the discussion. I want to thank everybody here and our teachers who have been our audience. I hope that we were able to, yeah, let's clap for everyone. I hope we were able to add something to your learning journey, to your development. Basically, that's it. I just want to thank everyone, and I really enjoyed the discussion. Thank you,
Perfect.
It
Gerald.
was
Thank
nice
you,
to see that
everyone.
so many people stuck with us the entire time. Though
I'm impressed.
I hope this
I'm
is a sign we kept you engaged.
Exactly.
Yes. For every teacher that is still here now, we thank you. And
Yeah, yeah.
we honor you for sticking with us this long tonight. Thank you all so much.
Thank you so much for our panels and our audience. That brings us to the end of our discussion. It was refreshing and inspiring to hear thoughts of our panels, from discussing the struggles of teachers go through, to big competition in global market, to understanding teachers' concerns and professional development, to explore key aspects, skills, mindsets that are in demand across top schools globally. On behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to extend again our gratitude to our panelists for participating in the discussion. I know we extended. Your individual perspective undoubtedly broaden and our understanding, our audience understanding about the topic, and have truly empowered our teachers today. Again, thank you, Miss Lulu, Dr. Andrew, Mr. Gerald. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
your
Have a great
participation.
evening, everyone.
Thank you guys. Have a great time wherever you are, day, evening, or afternoon. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So for those who are, again, thank you for our wonderful audience for sticking with us on this discussion. I know it has been a self-reflective discussion, and we are all pumped up to start, going out and getting these keys to our growth. So I would like to just take 5 more minutes of your time to discuss how International Teachers University USA, like Masters in Education, can help you on this venture. And if you stay right at the end, I have a gift for you, that you can take 10% off of your tuition fee. So just as we've heard, right? Let me quickly share my screen to you. There you go. So just as we've heard, our panelists have enlightened us on how obtaining key skills that are in demand change our mindset and approach to education on on top of your qualification. Like, these are the keys when it comes to beating the competition and furthering your career. So that is why International Teachers University was actually built. It is a university wherein the sole focus is on the teacher's development, right? Hence the name. So a quick glimpse into what the International Teachers University is like. The Masters of Education program tells us that this is a 12-month program delivered online, and is considered as the first Masters in Education program built upon international standards. So whatever the panelists was discussing earlier, it's something that you will be able to learn across the whole program. It's focused on supporting teachers' advancement and preparing teachers for future challenges in the classroom. And just as what Dr. Andy was saying, it provides the freedom when it comes to, there's a lot of things you can do at home. So it provides the freedom to balance work and further studies. So when it comes to the learning, and by the way, right, we're currently offering a scholarship. So for those who are here, you get 10% off when it comes to your program fee. Again, only available until end of the month. When it comes to the learning and experience throughout the whole program, it is hybrid learning. Build up your skill evidence portfolio. Apply your learning to real world scenarios, to even holding your very own master class and panel discussions such as this. That happens across the whole program, right? And there are multiple scholarships available for teachers that they can apply to, on top of the 10% scholarship that you get. And this is for the first 50 candidates who fills the application form. The application form is there on the chat. You will be able to see it. Our team will be linking it there, right? The application form is something you can fill up and check to see if you are eligible for any other scholarships. and also to see if you're eligible for the program as well. But again, there's no application fee whatsoever, and this is again open for the first 50 applications that comes in before end of the month, right before the June ends. And if you would like to know more about the program, you can book a session with our advisory team. You can kind of like have one of our advisors to get a personalized guidance and clarify your queries directly. If you would like to understand how it goes, what is the program, you can use the link. And again, the sooner you can do it, the better, because again, the 10% scholarship on top of the other scholarship is open for the first 50 applications that comes in. Okay, so that's all mostly on my side, and this is my gift for you guys for staying long after the discussion. But again, I would like to extend my deepest gratitude for our audience. Thank you so much for joining us today. The links for the application and for the admission advisory sessions are there in the chat. Please feel free to copy paste it. You can schedule your session, or you can start filling up the application form accordingly. All right, that's about mostly on my side. Thank you so much, everyone. It's been a great discussion, and I wish you all the best on your career journey.